I was asked this by one of my progressive buddies earlier today, and I decided, since it's less than a month away to go, I decided I'll do another video on Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. Because when I did my last video when the games were announced back near the end of May, I kinda ended off on a cliffhanger about would I get the games or not. And many months later, the answer is very simple. Fuck no. There you go, end of the video. I'm just fucking with you. I'm gonna go into more deep breakdown on why I'm not gonna bother playing them. First off, like I said in the previous video, not only with these games, they're $60 each, and I always get both games, so that's $120 right there. And on top of it, with the Switch, which I last checked, I haven't checked since, I heard it might have gotten a price drop, but if it's still the same price, I think it was like $2.99 for the cheapest one. I calculated before tax, it was over $420 or something like that. I'm a poor streetwagger, for God's sake. I can't just afford that, even if I was saving up probably for it. And of course, when I found out all the horrible things they've done to the game, I was like, fuck it, I'm not going to bother saving, because why would I save all my money for a game that I'm not going to want to play, and I know is going to suck? Now, why does it suck, you're probably asking? Well, they've changed way too much things, and they took out way too many core features that I think are so egregious and so unacceptable that anything new or special that they add in is just so bad that's not worth it. First off, the main thing that still bugs me this day is the capture method. Sorry, I don't accept the go mechanics into the game whatsoever. I don't want to fucking throw raspberries, which, by the way, I love how they changed the function of raspberries too. I'm sure they probably changed a whole bunch of different berries as well for that as well. I don't want to throw berries around to make a Pokemon more likely to be caught instead of battling it. And then, of course, throwing a Joy-Con around like a Pokeball to try and catch it at the right moment. And I also found out that one of my concerns about what if I'm walking around the middle somewhere playing a game. I can't use the Switch, throw the Joy-Con like a Pokeball. Might accidentally hit someone or drop it or something like that. I found out there actually is a feature where instead of doing the Joy-Con, you could just hold the controller and just flick it forward or something like that. Which is better, but that's still so stupid and pointless and possible damage the system when all you gotta do normally move up, down, left, or right on the directional pad depending on what you need to do on, hit A few times, and that's it. You just throw Pokeball and just hope you catch. That's just so simple. Why not just stick with fucking that? Also, I would prefer battling wild Pokemon too. Actual battling them, more satisfactory than just throw a berry, flick a Joy-Con, and just hope you land at the right spot and hope that'll be good enough to catch. So no, I don't like the go mechanics in there, and I want them gone. Another thing I don't like is that they've removed held items and abilities. What the fuck? Those are core elements. Held items have been around since Gen 2. Abilities have been around since Gen 3, and they make the games more interesting. Held items, abilities, they can actually make a battle turn into a different direction and such like that. It makes it much more interesting in battles. And off topic, 'cause I'm going to actually mention him a lot. If y'all remember when I took down Verlisify yesterday when he blocked me on Twitter, he has actually, I'm not kidding when I say this, because he has defended these two games and is willing to like die to defend these games. He and his supporters have actually thought of the dumbest reason as to why it's good that held items and abilities are gone. Get ready for this. Take a nice deep breath. You ready? Here's the response. It was not there in red and blue, so why is it a problem now? Are you seriously that stupid to make that point? That is apples and oranges comparison. You are talking about one of the original games where held items and abilities weren't around yet, compared to a game now that has those features for multiple generations, almost 20 years too in the case of held items and such, and now you're taking them out. That's not comparable, you fucking idiots. And no, I'm not going to accept that they took out held items and abilities. And you can't tell me with a straight face that that's a good thing. Sorry, I'm not accepting it, and nothing you could say will change my mind on that. And another thing I also remember from my last video that I had a question about is, if you can't battle wild Pokemon anymore, how can you get EXP when we found out that you get them from catching stuff? But how are you going to get all the money for all these Pokeballs and stuff, especially since you can only battle the trainers one time so far that I know of, unless VS Seeker's back? Well, it turns out on one of the demos that the main developers at Pokemon did months ago, you actually get free Pokeballs when you beat trainers and such. So it's like an additional item that you're giving out and such. So, of course, that explains a little bit, but of course my question is, how are you going to be able to train later on in the game when, in order to train, you have to catch Pokemon, and you say you run out of Pokeballs, and you can't get any more from the trainers because you beat all of them, and you can't buy any more because you probably don't have enough money because you spend them all getting Pokeballs to try and make all those catches. Again, like I'm saying, they don't think of this through. That is stupid, and that is unexcusable and unacceptable. Another thing is, you are now required to have a Pokemon that is strong against a gym leader when you battle them. Now, Adam told me the other night that it's only against Brock, even though I've heard people and saw articles and stuff actually say no, it's for all the gym leaders, not just Brock. But even if it is just Brock per se, that's still unacceptable, and I told him that when he told us that the other night. And that will ruin any Nuzlocke that anyone does in that game. That will ruin anyone that wants to do a monotype that's not strong against Brock, or anyone else for that matter, if it's for all the gyms. And that will ruin any game where someone just simply doesn't want to use grass types or water types or whatever, or they just don't want to use any of the Pokemon that is available for them that is strong against Brock and whatever. It's not up to fucking Game Freak to fucking handhold us because they're a bunch of condescending dumbasses that think that we don't know how to beat Brock or any of the gym leaders when, I mean, for fuck's sake, Pokemon type advantages in Pokemon are quite obvious by now after over 22 years of the game being out. If you don't know the type advantages, are you living under a rock? So no, they should not be controlling what Pokemon you have when you battle the gym leaders and stuff. That should be up to you specifically. So it doesn't matter to me if it's just Brock or it's everyone. It's still wrong regardless. Also now, you have to pay to do trading and battling online. So sorry, Adam, or anyone else. And this also applies for Gen 8 if it ever starts up. If they have to start paying to do trading online, I guess I'm doing it all by myself then, trading and battling with me and any other roleplay I do on my other games, because I am not doing that. And then the excuse is, it's only $4 a month. You can't even afford that? Actually, yeah, I can't afford that every month. And also, I wouldn't be doing trading or battling at all by and large. So why would I spend $4 a month, which is like 40, I think it's like over 40, almost 50 bucks a year total to do something that I would very little use. Yes, $4 is too much for me, and I wouldn't be using it at all by and large. So that is not worth it. And shame on you, Nintendo, for following the way of Microsoft and Sony when you were the superior version when it came to multiplayer online because you didn't have to pay for it. PC Master Race all the way. And then another thing that's really fucked up about this, especially since it's, I don't know if it's a main series game or not because they keep saying it is and it isn't and whatever. You can only trade on Pokemon Go. That's it. You can't do Sun, Moon, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, even though it's the exact same generation. And I mean, you could probably say the argument, it's a different game, console, so that's impossible. No, we've had multiple other ways, be it time capsule, like for Gold, Silver, and Crystal, or migrations, like it was for Gen 4 and Gen 5, and such like that. So it can be done, it's just Nintendo and Game Freak are too stubborn to try and do it. So you can only trade through Pokemon Go, and it's one way. You can only trade Pokemon from Go onto Let's Go. You can't do it the other way around. So that's pretty bad within itself, too. So you'd be thinking, because that means you're limited to Gen 1 through 4, because Gen 5 Plus is not on Pokemon Go yet. But it's even worse than that. You can only trade over the original 151 and the Alolan forms. So, for a game that's supposed to be a main series game and a remake to a previous game, you're only limited to 151. And it's not because Go doesn't have them all yet. No, you can only trade 151 over no matter what. So, you are limited to over 700 Pokemon pretty much on purpose. There's nothing you could do to get them on there. Gee, see why it's not looking so good right now? When you're actually limited on purpose to how many Pokemon you can have, and it's not version exclusives or trades or whatever. No, you literally can only have Generation 1 Pokemon on there. That is it. That is it. So yeah, that is a giant fuck up, and that is unacceptable. And Verlicify and all of his idiot subscribers have defended it too. You can only use 151 back then, so why's the problem now? Because they weren't around yet, you fucking idiots. Now they are, and it's not up to Game Freak and Nintendo to try and prevent us from being able to use them whenever they want. They should be programmed in there no matter what. And they should be able to trade over any Pokemon from Go to Let's Go, and vice versa. They should have all of them. Any Pokemon you can get on Let's Go, Go, you should be able to go put them over to Let's Go without no trouble. But no, they limit to only Gen 1, and that's it. So those are my main criticisms. And that's, listen, here's all the core features they took out, like I mentioned. No wild battles. No held items. No abilities. You can only have 151 Pokemon. You can only trade over from Let's Go, from Go. It's one way, and you can't have any connectivity with Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, Sun and Moon, or any of the Gen 7 games. How can anyone in their right fucking mind tell me that, oh, this is a good thing, and, oh, you're not a true Pokemon fan for not accepting this. You should buy the games no matter what, because you're supposed to support Pokemon no matter what. Fuck you. That's not up to you to decide who the true Pokemon fan is. I know what I want. I will decide what I think is a good game for the Pokemon series, and that's not up to you. Alright, I think that was all of my main problems with the game. Now I have some other, problems I don't think are that big of a deal, but are still kind of a problematic one, and also some questions I still might have for the game as well. As we all know now, you can actually have someone join your game as you're doing it. So, have someone with you, which I said was very interesting, and I would love to do that for, a role play. I think that would be actually really cool for, doing fan fiction, stuff like that. But, my main problem was, they made it so, if you do go into battle with a teammate, it's 2-on-1. And I don't think that's fair. They should have it if you are doing multiplayer with someone, it's double battle. It should not, no 2-on-1. That is completely unfair, and I'm not going to accept that. And if I was going to get the games, just on that alone, I would have actually got out of the multiplayer right before battle to make it fair, because I'm not accepting 2-on-1. Absolutely not. And then I just thought of it too. Of course, I just forgot about the starters, because you can't evolve the starters, which is completely full of shit. And this is the same bullshit that I hated in Yellow when you couldn't evolve Pikachu. I don't give a fuck if they're supposed to be special or not. If you want to evolve them, you should be able to. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And that's unacceptable that they can't let you evolve them still. And as I'm talking about this, I'm actually reading a Polygon article that's been updated from a few weeks ago. It actually has covered all the features that are added to the game and such. Another thing I forgot that they took out is you can't breed anymore now. So that's a giant fuck you. I mean, for fuck's sake, when every chance I get to breed, I always do so because I always want to get a level 1 Pokemon so that way I can train them up and have them know the moves that I want them to know by and large. Another thing I don't like is apparently the EXP share is always on and you can't turn it off. What the fuck? I'm the motherfucker that only has it on during train and stuff, but when it comes to, like, actually playing the story mode and such like that, I always have it turned off completely, or at least I try to remember to turn it off, because I want everyone to just level up the normal rate when they're balanced such, not when they're just sitting around doing nothing, even if they're only getting half of what they normally would. So, that's pretty bad that you can't turn that off. I think that covers probably all the other things that I care about, but not as big as those dire problems I had earlier. Then when I get into the other things that I really just don't care about, like I've seen people complain about, another game in Kanto, I don't want this crap again. I don't care about that. People are complaining about the new friendly rival. Oh god, another friendly rival, I can't take it anymore. I don't care personally if the rival is friendly or an asshole. The only thing I'll say to that is, if it's a remake of Yellow, which they've said it is, the rival should be just blue. End of discussion. They shouldn't be replaced. So I actually would agree from that angle that no, the rival should not be friendly. It should be blue, and blue's a dick. And of course, I don't care about dressing up your Pokemon or giving them a hairstyle and stuff like that. Although, like I said in the previous video, I won't like it if it's just Pikachu and Eevee. It should be everyone, and I mean everyone. Either everyone or no one is my philosophy. And all the new outfits I've seen look like they're all like set outfits, and haven't seen anything about like choosing your own custom attire from like shirt, pants, and stuff like that. Although I would hope or sure would be in there. Same goes, I still haven't seen any footage or anything of about when I saw in the first trailer of it that the male trainer always had the Pikachu, the female trainer always had the Eevee. I haven't seen any deviation on that like I would usually see in trailers for the game, so I wonder if they're segregated by gender based upon the games, but I highly doubt that. And then I don't also like about the promotion about that Pokeball Plus that you have to spend $50 to get, which is basically just a fucking controller for the game and stuff to throw instead of a Joy-Con. Why would I spend $50 on that when I could just use the controller or the Switch to flick it to make my catch? And no, you're not going to use the, but you get Mew, as a reasonable answer to me. I don't give a fuck if Mew's in it. I'm not a 100% completionist. I don't care about getting Mew. Same goes for Meltan and Melmetal, although that's free to get. All you gotta do is just transfer it over from Go. But I don't give a fuck about that. That's not a sale to me. That's not valuable to me, so don't even bother bringing it up. That $50 price tag, and since that's all it is used for, the get Mew or use as a controller, when I can just use the Joy-Con or the Switch as the controller already, and I don't give a fuck about Mew, that's not a valuable thing to me, so stop bringing it up. I believe that's it by and large for anything talking about the game. The only thing left I want to talk about is, honestly, the disgusting, and I mean outright disgusting, to almost like views like borderline shilling that a lot of the PokeTubers in the community have had for the game. It is quite bad. And I'm not talking about just Felicify, who just sucks this game off to oblivion and blocks any criticism of it and thinks it's the best game ever. I am talking about people that have actually gone to events where they've played the game before, and they fawned over the game so much that it honestly comes across to me as not genuine. It seems so fake, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're paid by Nintendo or Game Freak to say the things that they are to try and get the game promoted, because guess what? The game's not doing well in terms of hype. And the only one that I've seen so far that's been objective as possible is Proto Mario, who did an awesome video back in August about the game not being hyped up. I'll put the video in the description and in the comments so you can see it yourself. Other than him, I haven't seen a single big PokeTuber that has had any critiques of the game And all of them so far I've seen have just been fawning over it. Maybe there is someone out there that I just don't know about. So post a video to me so I can see it for myself, because I would love to see a big PokeTuber actually take down the game for once instead of just fawning praise over it. That sounds so fake. And of course, I've mentioned earlier another thing I don't like. This is more specifically to Verlisify's group, where if you criticize the game, they'll just tell you, you're just not a true Pokemon fan. This game is for true Pokemon fans. You're just a hater if you don't like it. Because when the games were announced, I went on one of Verlisify's videos. I thought the video of his was so disgusting, his defense of it, that of course I posted my thoughts on it. He had his minions swarmed on me in an instant, and I destroyed every single one of them with their terrible arguments. There is no such thing as a true Pokemon fan. And that applies to any other media too. There's no true fan of anything. It's an individual thing. Some people care more about other things in this series more than others. Like me. I love the main series games. I don't pay attention by and large to the side games, although some of them are good. I don't follow the anime anymore. I don't follow the TCG. I read the manga, but I'm not following it like to a T by and large. I don't do all the other merchandise and stuff like that. I'm just the main series game. That's what I focus on. And if you do care about all those things, good for you. But that doesn't make you a true Pokemon fan, just like it doesn't make me a true Pokemon fan for only following the games. There is no true fan of anything. It's up to you to decide what you care about the series. And since I care about the main series, me criticizing it actually shows my love for the series, because I don't want it to fuck up and be terrible series like a lot of my stuff grown up has. Same feeling goes for my love for Monster Trucks and Monster Jam. I criticize Feld for how they handle Monster Jam because I want Monster Jam to succeed, and the way Feld is running Monster Jam is just bad and wrong, and that doesn't make me a hater or biased to criticize them. No one should accept a game being bare bones, losing core features that have been around for a long time and such like that, to bullshit. So no, I'm not doing Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. And in fact, this is so bad. If you take out even just buying a Switch and say only $120 for the games, I could probably get a physical Diamond, which I don't have anymore because it was stolen years ago, a physical English Heart Gold and Soul Silver, in English Black, White, although I do got Black English already, Black 2 and White 2 because I have all the Japanese versions of them, and probably a couple other different games, maybe even get extra XY, Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, Sun, Moon, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. I could probably get a whole bunch of different combinations of them and probably pay almost as much, if not less, or maybe more too, and get more value for my money. That is how shitty these games are. They're not an improvement. They are going backwards, and this whole video I explained exactly why they're going to go backwards, and you can't defend them. That's not defensible. It's not debatable. You're just wrong to think that this game is going to be great for Pokemon. It's not. So fuck every one of you that told me I'm a bad, evil, non-true Pokemon fan for not liking this game. And fuck all the big PokeTubers that are shilling for this game hardcore. I'm not buying them. I'm not going to enjoy them. I'm not going to play them. I'll play with the games that I enjoy. And as Proto Mario said in that video I mentioned, we are probably going to look back in this in 20 years wondering, why did these games exist and why did they fail? And it's going to be quite clear why. And I'm pretty confident that, I wouldn't say they're going to outright fail, but they're not going to do well, especially in terms of sales. And with that, that'll be my last video on the topic. I am done talking about this.